Hey, STAR students, welcome back to the Astro Study Room. I'm Ember Faye, your friendly neighborhood fire fairy witch.
And I'm Jordan, a university librarian by day and a dedicated astrology student by night. And yes, welcome back to the Astro Study Room. Our goal for this podcast, as always, is to feel like we're all just students meeting up after class to go over our notes together. So bring your notes, your water, and all your pens and highlighters. Every other Tuesday, we will be exploring core astrology topics, breaking them down, and just chatting about how these concepts show up in our real lives and reflect on what wisdom the stars have to share with us. If you enjoyed this episode, I hope you will consider subscribing and leaving us a review to help us grow this little cohort of astrology students.
Welcome to episode 9, talking about the benefic, incredibly wonderful Jupiter.
Yes, I am excited. I feel like Jupiter is the one well-placed planet in my chart, so very much love to Jupiter.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard you say that before.
Because
Which
it's
is
the one
funny.
planet.
You're like, I'm going to give credit to my chart for this one thing. It's if there's anything, I guess that's, should be well placed. I guess Jupiter is a good option.
It's a good one, yeah.
So, Jordan, I gotta ask, how has this week's energy been for you? Like, we're just finishing with eclipse season now. By the time this episode airs, it'll have been done for like a week or so. But
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't feel like I've totally been feeling it. I feel like the things that I am experiencing are more tied to my own menstrual cycle and not the eclipse. What about
mm,
you?
it definitely kicked my butt. I feel like I'm glad the eclipse happened because I'm like, oh, I can just blame this on eclipse season because it was wild. Just like the craziness and like just the fogginess. I had so much trouble like pinning things down and like
Hmm.
everything just felt like a lot and very like emotional and yeah, very heightened, which was
Yeah,
interesting.
that is interesting. Do you feel like other people around you have been experiencing something similar?
Yeah, because the amount of times I told people about the eclipse was a lot because they would come to me and be like, they'd be like, I just feel so sad today. Or like, I just don't even know why I'm so emotional. Or I don't know. That was the big thing. There was a lot of like, I am feeling a lot into my feelings, which I was wondering if that was just like, I mean, eclipses make things big, right? And we started in like the Pisces, like a full moon in Pisces. So I don't know if that's what was going on, but it was interesting. So yeah, definitely the people around me were feeling it.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'll have to ask. I'll have to ask. I know, I did have one person message me at work and she knows I do astrology and she was like, "What's going on in my chart?" because blah 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 blah. And I looked and she actually had a lot of Virgo Pisces placements and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's actually eclipse season right now."
I love when synchronicities work out like that. I had
We
another
all
friend
suffer
who
at
I
the
was,
same time.
yeah, I had another friend who like didn't really have a lot of personal planets or anything in Virgo Pisces, but definitely like the themes of the houses they were placed in was super resonating with her. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Um, but yeah, so I think we'll like jump into this week's episode. We're so excited to talk about Jupiter, but as always, we love to remind you that Jordan and I have been releasing content on Patreon to help you learn more about the planets, connect with them, and would love your feedback in the comments or on our social media. And
Message
as you may,
us.
what you say?
Message us.
Message
Let us
us.
know your thoughts.
And as you may know by now, we do have donation tiers on Patreon. And if you feel so called to, we would be absolutely over the moon honored for your support. We have fun and affordable donation tiers to help you stay connected. When I say fun, I realize that probably sounds really weird, but I mean, like the names of the donation tiers are super cute and adorable. We kind of like put those in and talked about those a little bit. Really, it's just to help support the
They're
magic behind.
classroom themed.
Yes, they are classroom themed. So you can go check them out just to look at them. But yeah, it's really just to stay connected and support the magic behind the mic. And as always, no pressure at all, since we're here to make this content as accessible as we can to our listeners.
Absolutely. There is no pressure to donate, and everyone is always encouraged to join us for the free astrology content. And we hope to always make this space available and accessible to as many people as possible.
Yes, Jordan, tell us about your reading offers.
Yeah, so I offer 30-minute and 60-minute readings. I do natal chart readings and solar return readings, so feel free to shoot us a message if you would like a reading. And Ember, what do you have going on?
Yeah, I kind of used eclipse season to go deep in creation mode with Ember Fey Magic. And I've really like loved some of the connections I've been making on Instagram and talking to people, and like content creation is actually it's been a lot more fun and easier than I thought it would be, which has been really cool and exciting because that was like super daunting. And I am looking forward to I have some pretty big goals around Samhain or the Witch's New Year. So if you aren't already following my Instagram, it'd be linked in the show notes so you can stay tuned and keep up to date on that.
Yeah, and just say it out loud. What's the at?
Oh, at Ember Fae Magic.
Heck yeah. You can follow us at the Astro Study Room too.
Yes, Instagram is like our main content. Jordan's been working on some TikTok things, but we've been mostly present here on Instagram and Patreon. So yeah, go follow us there.
Yeah.
And you know, we love words of affirmation. So please let us know how we're doing. Give us feedback on how we can help you learn, comments like subscribes. And as we always love to say, Jordan and I are both students ourselves. So we definitely don't know everything. We'll be totally upfront with that. We're all learning together in this little astro study room, which is why it's so special to us.
So buckle up, star students. Class is officially out and the study room is in session.
Jordan, would you like to start with our current astro weather? What's going on right now?
Yeah, so by the time that this episode comes out, actually, I think even right now, Mars has moved into Scorpio. So Mars is very comfortable in Scorpio. If you listen to our last episode, you might know that. Collectively, this is a time about uncovering the truth, not letting things slide, because Scorpio never forgets. And so I would say that there are major themes of accountability here, and that can be in your individual lives or something you might see again on the global scale. This is a time of great focus. Scorpio is a fixed sign, so it has that staying power. And while Mars is all about that drive and willpower, and so whatever motivates you right now, stick with that and stay focused on it and stay committed to that, because I think what can come from this is a burst of some short-term results as well as some of that staying power for hopefully some longer-term results for whatever kind of things you're working on. And then also think about where you have Scorpio in your chart. Mars may be bringing in some challenges, some motivation, or just some kind of activity in general, maybe some kind of passion. Do you have any planets or angles in Scorpio? What might this be activating for you? And think about if you have any planets in the fixed signs, so that would be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, and think about maybe some challenges or friction you might feel with the square. Or do you have any planets in water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, and think if you're getting any kind of beneficial motivation happening.
Oh, I like that. Second, so I have Scorpio in my second house. So that's like my house of, I'm like blanking, like money,
Yeah, resources, income,
resources,
self-value.
income. I'm just like money.
Yeah. So I would think that this could be something too. Again, maybe you'll see a short burst of something happening, but then also something working towards a long-term gain
Can I
because of
win
the
the
fixed
lottery?
energy. Oh gosh, I wish. I think gambling is fifth house, where I have Jupiter, by the way. I should play the lottery more.
I think combined, I'll split it with you.
You know, my friends and I had a conversation the other day about what we would do if we won whatever the Powerball or whatever is when it if it's still I don't really know, but it was like $1 billion
Like the
or something.
billions, yeah.
Yeah, we like had a whole conversation about like who would we tell? I asked my best friend, like my first question was like, how much of that would you give to me? And we had like a legit conversation, and she was like, she was so she was like, I would probably hire you and give you like a fake salary, something to do with taxes. She was like, I can't just give you the money. And then for some time, we've been seeing a square between Mars and the exalted Jupiter, which we love to see. And this square with Mars may have felt like a bit of a barrier to some of Jupiter's opportunities, but Mars is well out of that square now. So a lot of astrologers have been talking about you might feel like a blanket has been lifted, like some kind of something that's been like either weighing you down or like obscuring kind of what's in front of you. That hopefully should feel lifted now. And eventually it's going to apply to a trine with Jupiter over the next couple months. And I believe this will hopefully manifest as major growth in areas of our lives that we are passionate about. Ember, that sounds very relevant to you. And maybe something you have been working hard for or manifesting, you will start to feel like an extra surge of motivation for it.
Yeah, I was thinking about Jupiter. It's Cancer, right?
Hmm.
And so I was like, it's my 10th house. And I'm like, has Mars been like obscuring Jupiter's influence in my 10th house?
Do you feel like it?
Yes.
Solid.
I'm ready.
All right,
Good
and let's
job.
kick it on over to the local astro weather.
So for this full moon, I went down a little rabbit hole. I don't even remember why, but as you may or may not know, the harvest moon is the moon that is closest to our autumn equinox, which happened September 22nd this year. So about a week ago, from when you're listening to this. I was like reading and I was getting confused because a lot of references were putting like September's full moon as the harvest moon. And I was like, wait a second, this is not making sense. So every so often, the harvest moon will shift from September to October. And that's why this year, the harvest moon is actually happening on October 6th, which is our next full moon. And it's peaking at 11:46 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so while I was like traveling down this hole and reading a lot of articles, this actually like replaces the hunter moon, which is the moon usually in October, versus like, oh, this is actually the hunter moon, blah, blah, blah. But for what I found, this is the harvest moon. This makes the most sense. It's closest to the autumn equinox. And so, like, I thought that was pretty cool since it was happening in October and that doesn't usually happen. We're also getting into our super moon season as well. So, this full moon is going to be considered a super moon, which again, rabbit hole, was a pop culture term coined by an astrologer named Richard Noel in 1979. So it's like a rather newer term and more in like the pop astro land, which makes it like a little bit controversial in the astronomy astrology world. But essentially, this term represents when the moon is the closest to the earth in its orbit. And since the moon isn't always doing like a perfect circle around the earth, that makes sense, right? So it's more like an ellipse. So sometimes it'll be closer to the earth than other times. And I was curious, Jordan, like, did you have anything else to add about supermoons?
I actually don't. This is not something that has come up for me in my studies, so it's interesting to hear about. You know me, and I love a good rabbit hole. So now I'm like mentally remembering Richard Noel in my head, so I can look more into this later because I haven't. It's not something I've thought about, and the only thing that comes to mind is just kind of the thought of like what this must have felt like 2 or 3 thousand years ago to see a supermoon, and I think that's something I'll probably reflect on when I see this supermoon.
Yeah, and it happens in like a couple months in a row. So this is not like as I was reading, I'm pretty sure like the big supermoon, like the closest it'll be might be in November, but don't quote me on that. But this is not the biggest. So it starts, there's like a few cycles of it. So this is like the beginning of the supermoons. And so really, I think like looking at how that may influence us, it just might mean that energies may be feeling a little bit amplified. So for the next few months, to kind of summarize, the moon is going to look absolutely gorgeous when it's full. And so get out, dance under the full moon, go say hi to her because she's going to be waiting and she's going to be beautiful. And so the actual astrology I think is exciting about this moon is that it's sort of like our next big moon phase after taking us out of like the craziness of eclipse season. So we had like the full moon in Pisces, the new moon in Virgo, eclipses, and just it's like throwing us right into the fire of an Aries full moon. And it's really a time where you could take that fiery energy and really just step into the power of you and who you are authentically and powerfully. So if you've been stalling a creative project, this can be a really good time to just go for it and see how it goes over the next 6 months of the full moon, right into Aries season. And this is also a good time to like prioritize you, practice your boundaries, say no without guilt. And so, that being said, these full moons are always about balance, right? And I particularly love this energy during Libra season, which is all about balance and connections. And so, Aries full moon in the Libra sign reminds us that yes, we need to recognize the beauty, right? Libra, all about beauty, cultivating some like Venusian energy and fostering relationships and all that. But we also need to take the fuck care of ourselves too. That is so important and so easy to forget. So that is what this moon is reminding us. And finding that balance during a Libra Sun Aries full moon seems like the perfect time to do that. So what can you do during this time? Like I already said, take some decisive actions. Aries is ruled by Mars. maybe bring in that Libra energy and make some decisive decisions around relationships or creative endeavors that you might have going on. And as we get into those more shadowy fall to winter vibes and the days are growing shorter, this Aries full moon is a reminder that you are in control of your power and you still have the energy of the moon to assist you with your endeavors, with your shadow work. She's here for you. Anything else to add, Jordan?
I was thinking when you were bringing up, these Pisces Virgo eclipse season and how we're kind of thrown into an Aries full moon, I was thinking about how the last eclipse season was the Aries and Libra axis. And do you know this off the top of your head? Isn't an eclipse axis, doesn't that last 2.5 years?
Oh gosh, I have no idea. Does it mean that like the next eclipses will also be in Virgo and
Yes.
Pisces for like a while, for like 2 years?
I think it's 2.5 years. I can't find anything. I don't even know how to like Google this question very well. Yeah, okay, it looks like it's about 2 years, I think. So yeah, so for 2 years we had, because eclipse seasons happen twice a year,
Mm-hmm.
and they happen on that same axis for I think 2 years straight.
Oh, I didn't realize
Um,
that. I always just assumed
yeah.
it was like the two.
No, so I think this eclipse, so last eclipse season, the spring eclipse season, I believe we actually had one of them still in Aries, in the Aries Libra axis, and we had one that just started the Pisces Virgo, but this was the first full Pisces Virgo season, and so we still have like a year and a half left of the Pisces Virgo nodal axis. But the last
No.
one, so I'm guessing here, but probably like 2022 to 2024-ish was all Aries Libra eclipse seasons.
Mm.
So I don't know. I think it's also interesting to think about reflecting on those eclipse seasons. Like even look like if you keep a journal or a diary, like look back at your what you had going on during those seasons over the past couple years. There's always, there's usually one around the fall, one around the spring. And then, use this Aries full moon to release whatever major things were coming up for you in that eclipse season.
Yeah, I love that. And the perfect way I think to release is like have a bonfire under the full moon and like
Yeah.
burn that shit. It's one of my favorite things to do. I probably will. So where we are in the Northeast, it's getting into fall. And so I love bonfires in the
What's the
fall.
temperature for you today? Today
It
was
was
actually kind of warm, I think.
it was like warm. It was 70, but it was pretty rainy and it was pretty rainy and
It
cloudy.
was 70.
I feel like that's when
Today
I'm
was
feeling kind of
82.
low. Oh no, it was not that today. Today
But
it
we
was
are about to
like,
have, it looks like 8 days straight of rain.
yeah, we have a lot of rain coming. It was 67 today.
I need to move more north, I swear.
Yeah, but I was feeling it. I'm feeling low energy because it was just like clouds and gray.
I love it though.
Um, but yeah, make the bonfire, make the fire, bring the light to you this fall, this winter. I love taking that fire energy and just like channeling it into movement, feeling it in my body. It's like the witchiest shit ever.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for telling us all about the Aries full moon. And let's jump right into our main segment today, all about our lovely benefic Jupiter. All right, let's get right into our great benefic. Ember, tell us all about Jupiter's key themes.
Okay, so as we have mentioned a few times now, Jupiter is the greater benefic.
We will not
So
let you forget it.
we can count how many times. You have to do a shot every time we say greater benefic.
Pull over
Associated
and take a shot.
greater
Don't drink and
benefic.
drive. We're kidding.
What's wrong with us today? Okay, our greater benefic associated with some good fortune, ruling expansion and growth. And what I love about Jupiter, what we love about Jupiter, is that it's a planet that can still show us where we may have weaknesses, but will communicate it in a way that's like a learning experience with a chance to grow and develop with a positive spin, which I kind of love, right? That like mentorship and all those things that I hope to channel in a very life coaching way. So you can think of Jupiter as like the cosmic big daddy of optimism, expansion, and sometimes doing a little too much. So, like the friend who may convince you to book a trip randomly, or order the extra dessert because we all love extra dessert, or sign up for a class that you don't really have time for, or buy the thing you shouldn't. Like Jordan, I do to you all the time. But it always ends up being worth it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think I ever looked to Jupiter for where there may be weaknesses, and I am aware of like the overindulgence aspect of Jupiter, but I don't think I looked to Jupiter for that, which is interesting. And the more I think about it, the I'm so uninterested in looking at that with Jupiter because it's the one good planet I have. So I'm gonna keep that, but I enjoy this perspective for other people.
Yeah, I think, astrology is like what you need and it's all interpretation. But I do think that depending on where in your house Jupiter is, it could exaggerate a particular trait and show us like where you may be overdoing it or overindulging in that space. And so I use the word weakness, but maybe that's the wrong word. Maybe it's just like more shining a light on where you could be weak, which I guess is a weakness. But like, I guess like thinking about it, Jupiter in your second house, right? Maybe someone who likes to spend a lot of money. And so knowing that, knowing where Jupiter is, it might make you be like, okay, maybe I need to think about this big purchase, even though it feels really good right now. So just trying to like be aware of it and make you think about where do I have that tendency to overindulge. But it's really the planet that's seen and utilized for luck and blessings and abundance and growth and knowledge and prosperity and philosophy and all these really good positive things, which is like a lot. So if we're getting our flashcards out, get your pens, get your colored pencils, your markers, whatever. The words that I would write are expansion. So expansion can mean so many things: growth, abundance, things getting bigger, like expansion. Beliefs, this could be your spirituality, wisdom, higher education, worldviews. And then going into that, so you have your beliefs, then you have like knowledge and learning, right? So that higher education value. Of course, optimism, good luck, fortune. Overindulging, I think, deserves to be on the card. It's a little bit more shadowy, but I think it does deserve to be there. Any more, Jordan?
I think the only other one I can think of is sometimes Jupiter is associated with long distance travel. And I think that would go along with like expanding on your world. And I also think, along with spirituality, Jupiter also specifically rules religion.
How come not short distance travel?
That's
Why not just
Mercury.
like travel?
I think that could have something to do with like what travel used to look like. Like a long distance travel took days or months.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna have to look more into if Jupiter truly, I don't want to say truly, but I guess I want to look into if Jupiter traditionally rules long distance travel. Have you heard the term the 12-letter alphabet in astrology?
Nope.
It's a more modern thing, and it has to do with astrologers who believe that like the first house equals Aries, no matter what you have in the first house. The first house is influenced by Aries, which means the first house is always influenced by Mars, and so on. Second house is always influenced by Taurus, and therefore always influenced by Venus. And traditional astrologers don't believe this is true. But there's been a lot of like, I think I do this too. Even though I don't believe that they are equal to each other, I do think there are some things where I just kind of conflate them with being connected. So, like, does Jupiter actually rule long distance travel, or do I just think that because,
It's related to Sagittarius.
yeah, and Sagittarius is ninth house, which is long distance travel.
Yeah.
Even though, yeah, so I don't know. I'll have to look more into that.
Huh. I feel like I get that confused in my head, but it makes sense. I don't know. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we got our key themes. Jordan, can you tell us about our body connections, our medical astrology?
Yeah, and I think some of these, until we get to the micronutrients, I think some of these are actually pretty intuitive, are going to make sense right off the bat. But Jupiter rules over our liver function, our fat digestion, our body fat slash, is it pronounced adipose?
Yeah.
Our
Wait,
adipose
before we
tissue.
go on, Jordan, I have to ask the liver function thing. Why?
Doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't,
Well, I was curious because, like, you were saying
well,
it's
what is
intuitive.
how does the gallbladder and liver connect to each other?
The
Is,
gallbladder kind of sits in the liver, like
that could be
between
it.
the liver lobes. Yeah. And the liver
I
is
don't know.
about like, right? It like filters, that's like its big job, is it filters. It filters
I thought
blood.
that was kidneys.
Kidneys will concentrate urine and pull back like electrolytes and things like that and salts and but the liver is like your detox organ.
Hmm.
That's why like alcohol hurts your liver. It's because it's like
I
metabolic.
wonder if it has a connection to overconsumption then.
Oh, maybe.
I don't like that's kind of I feel like that's kind of a stretch though.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it and wasn't
Does
sure
the
if it
liver have anything to do with fats?
so the gallbladder
The gallbladder does,
definitely is
yeah.
involved with like the processes and breakdowns of fat.
Surprised the gallbladder is not on my list.
I bet you it's related. I bet you Jupiter rules the gallbladder.
Yeah, I feel like it has to.
I think that's like the liver is like that gatekeeper in the body that would like process and get rid of the thing so it doesn't harm you.
I'll have to look
Think
more into
about
this, but
it.
there is one little thing that is saying like it has to do with what people in ancient times knew about the liver. I'll have to
Oh.
look more into like what it is that they knew about the liver, but
I mean, the liver is also like huge. Like it's a big organ in the body. Before they knew
yeah.
like skin was an organ, the liver is pretty big and
Is it bigger or smaller than our brains?
bigger. I don't know. In animals, it's bigger, and I'm like, in a human, I have no idea. I've never seen a human
I
liver.
can tell you what it's like in a fish. Do fish have livers? Do we
I
all have the
don't
same organs?
know. Fish don't have livers.
What do they do if they drink too much alcohol?
They use their like no wait. I just realized what you said.
No, I was like, dang, you didn't give that enough laugh.
I was trying to process that. Wait, I think fishes do have livers. Hold on, wait. I'm having like a moment right now. They have the tiniest liver.
In the world, or like,
Fish have
I
a
wonder how
liver.
big a shark liver is. Up to 25 to 30% of its total body weight, taking up 90% of its body cavity space.
For a shark? Oh yeah. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a
I was
lot of
just thinking
liver.
tiny little fish. I guess
I know, I
I
was
guess
just,
like in my necropsies, fish just don't have like a big liver like another animal,
yeah,
like a mammal.
interesting. Well, I hope you enjoyed this fish segment. After body fat, we have the cerebrum, which is responsible for higher reasoning. So I think that's very connected to Jupiter. And then I also read, actually, this came up with one of my things I just Googled too. I read that Jupiter is connected to arteries, and I'm not really sure why, because to me, like I think of, well, hold on. Is arteries the ones that takes things away?
Arteries takes away from what?
I don't know. The heart? Like,
So arteries, I think my brain was like, they are definitely like the thickest vessels. They're usually the ones that will get clogged by fats and cholesterol and things. So I
yeah,
wasn't sure if that was why I was related. Yeah, this
maybe.
was not when you started off by saying this was intuitive. I was
You
like,
know, I
I
think it
don't
was just because it said fat and cerebrum, and I was like, that makes sense.
this has definitely been the least intuitive one for me. Also, I'm going back to the fish. Fish have livers. Getting back to the question about, I was trying to think like gills. They also detox with gills and kidneys. I just needed to say that
Okay.
in case anybody was wondering.
In case you go swimming through some alcohol.
Yeah.
Do the arteries have any connection to the liver? Do arteries take things to the liver? How do things get to the liver?
Through like a portal system. So yes, like the arteries will go through what?
Imagine like a magic door where the door opens up and then it just appears somewhere else.
Yes. So yes, it comes via the arteries. So you have your aorta and then you have arteries like leading to the liver and then from the liver you have like a venous system that'll either go back to the heart. It also has like liver has its own
Oh my
blood
gosh,
circulation too
Venus,
to keep
like
it functioning.
Venus.
What?
I said, oh my gosh, Venus, like Venus.
This segment has gotten away from us. Start
Okay,
over.
but where I'm going with this though is that maybe that's the connection with arteries. It's because it's taking it to the liver, and we haven't quite figured out why that connects to Jupiter either. Again, I think it has something to do with what people used to believe, or I don't want to say used to believe, but just I don't even want to be insulting. I don't want to say limited knowledge, but I guess just like what the knowledge was in ancient times, maybe. And then I guess I'm curious now if there's a theme with Jupiter about detoxing, because I've never heard that one. I know that, Pisces is associated, well, one, we know that Jupiter is associated with overdoing things, and I know Pisces, again, I think this might be a 12-letter alphabet issue, but people say that Pisces is substance abuse, and Pisces is
Oh.
ruled by Jupiter. But I don't know. I've never heard of either of those things being related to detoxing. And then anyway, I believe in Vedic astrology, Jupiter is considered the giver of children, and they would look to Jupiter also as the ruler of fertility. So in, traditional and modern Western astrology, we tend to look at the moon for fertility, but in Vedic astrology, they look to Jupiter. And then Jupiter is involved in overdoing things that expand and growing things. So this includes growth in excess, such as tumors and cancers and other kinds of growth.
That one
So,
made sense to me.
yeah. All right. And now our lovely Dr. Ember is going to have to tell us, if you can, why these micronutrients might relate to Jupiter. So the first one is biotin. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so biotin is like for hair, skin, and nails, which I thought at first was Venus vibes, but it also helps them grow. So I was like, okay, growth and expanding,
Yeah.
maybe.
And then next we have fats and cholesterol. So what do you know about that one? Those two.
Yeah, fat definitely makes sense. I think it's insulation, it's the fuel that symbolizes like richness, like rich foods are fatty. And I think can also be like that shadow of overindulging on those like really rich foods, butter, cream, things like that. I don't know, oil, but the right balance of those things is essential, right? Like indulging too much on those things can make you sick. Your body can't process all those fats, so it could make you sick, but it's really important and they're really necessary to keep us thriving. And it's the same as cholesterol, right? It's like necessary for cell membranes, hormones. And I think that makes sense for Jupiter because it's like this reminder that Jupiter isn't black and white and that there's the balance, right? Like it's important, it's essential, but like overindulging in good things can lead to excess, and that's not good either.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of stuck in the conversation right now about like modern versus traditional astrology, and this is a very modern conversation that we're having, so that's interesting. And then, do you know anything about magnesium and zinc?
I mean, magnesium's needed for rest. You can take like magnesium supplements to like sleep better. Maybe it's like this reminder that to expand and grow, you need to like rest. You need to take time to process.
Do you know anything about like magnesium drips in humans? I don't know if animals do them.
A magnesium drip?
Yeah.
No.
I've known a couple people who had a magnesium drip right before having a baby or right after they delivered, and I've heard it's worse than actually delivering the baby, but I don't actually know what it does.
Oh, I have no idea.
Maybe it
It's an
rests the
essential.
body.
Magnesium's essential, so no, I don't know.
I know they had to like lay still for like 24 hours. I don't know. It
I could
sounds
have been
like
fluids themselves.
horrific.
Magnesium is used for so many things. I was trying, but like it's one of those like basic.
Oh, it to prevent seizures in cases of severe preeclampsia and eclampsia. To
Okay.
provide neuroprotection for babies in case of preterm labor before 32 weeks of gestation. That was from
Hmm.
AI, so I'm not checking this source, by the way. What about zinc?
Yeah, I have no idea how that's related. I mean zinc, it's also calming and it supports the immune
Such a
system.
weird thing. And so anyway, moving on. Now, another one of my favorite things that we always talk about is the archetypes of each planet. And I feel like I say this for each section, but I do really love this archetype section because this is where we can really feel like we get to know the energy of each planet on a human level. And this is how our human brains can really connect with the planet. Again, it's that, that animism. So what archetypes do you think of for Jupiter?
I think Jupiter is just this like smiley optimist explorer, like they're excited and want to go out and do all the things, or like the sage or teacher. And I don't know. I was also like, maybe they're a gambler. And then I had that like gambler song stuck in my head. Do you know what song I'm talking about?
No, but I laughed like I did.
uh the Gambler song by Kenny Rogers. You know, that song that's like,
Are you gonna sing it, or else I probably won't recognize it?
you know, the song, it's like every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is
No,
knowing
I
what to
don't know
throw
this
away.
song.
Really?
Never heard it before. Yep.
You know, you gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them,
Nope.
know
Doesn't ring a
when to
bell.
walk away, know
Was it
when
on
to run.
Glee?
No,
Then I probably don't know it.
it
Was
probably
it on
was
Glee or
on Glee.
Broadway? Or did Panic at the Disco cover it? If not, I probably don't know it.
No, I don't think so. Anyways, so you know, like gambling, whatever, or like a really luscious king. I picture him as like I don't know, King Lollipop or something, who's
Yeah, right now.
who's just like a really
King
nice
Lollipop.
king. You know, the candy, the
I like King Night Dresser.
Candyland, the game.
Oh yeah, was that actually one of the things?
I think so. That's what I
I
pictured.
remember
Like
like
some
the
king in
mudslide
Candyland.
guy.
He's
Like
like some
the
who like is
chocolate
giving.
puddle. He was like the first one I think that you go through, right?
Yeah, then there was like that really pretty lady that
I
she
don't
was like
remember
a
any of the other
fairy.
characters except
There was like a
the
gumdrop.
mudslide one. I remember Gumdrop Land. I don't remember like what the other characters were.
Okay, I'm gonna resist the urge to look it up.
Yeah, I was like, we have a schedule.
Yeah, so like luscious king, very happy king, which like brings us to the fact that Jupiter is the Roman counterpart to Zeus. And I think for those who don't really know Greek mythology at all, I think probably all of us have heard of Zeus, the god with a commanding presence, the king of the gods. And I really think it just like digs into this archetype of power and abundance. Like Zeus can be super giving in his myths, but also like really indulge with just like all the affairs and I don't know. He does a lot. He does a lot of things. He overindulges. And so I just picture this like big happy smile and someone who's really giving. I don't know. Anyways, Jordan, tell us about the archetype because I don't know what I'm doing.
I do want to shout out to any of our listeners who listen to Epic the Musical. Shout out to Thunderbringer. But so for this story that I've connected to this too, this one actually came to me faster than anyone else has. I think actually even faster than Simba from The Lion King did for the sun. But it's Uncle Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I love that this is our second reference to Avatar The Last Airbender because it's such a good show.
Yeah, I almost like it, like again, it came to me too quickly that I was almost like, no, it's probably not gonna check enough boxes. But then I don't know, it felt pretty perfect. So Uncle Iroh is Zuko's mentor. So that's kind of like a check on that mentor archetype. And then he's always more optimistic and very jovial, which like, is super Jupiter. Especially as they're doing like not jovial things like war.
Yeah, and I think it's like kind of important to note this theme of what we've talked about of like Jupiter not being this like black and white planet of like, oh, it's always like this really, really good, is that Uncle Iroh is technically on like the bad guy side, right? He's with the Fire Nation, which
Which I
is
thought was really interesting because Jupiter also rules Sagittarius, which is a fire sign.
oh yeah, total
Yeah.
connection. But
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that like you love Uncle Iroh, even though his like nation is doing all these terrible things, and like
Mhm.
Zuko is kind of a jerk too in the beginning. He's amazing. Uncle Iroh is awesome, and he's like the light, the jovial person.
Yeah, and I think too, I don't know, I guess it kind of makes you think about that whole like, there are good and bad people. I don't know. That's such an extreme to be able to claim like there's good people in every group. But, Fire Nation again, we're like the bad guys of the show, but yet we have this good guy in the bad guys team. And then he was also, so full of wisdom, very Jupiterian. He was big on morality and passing on better morals to Zuko, and even through that, being the bright and happy guy that we all know him to be. And I think of Zuko and like, how frustrated he would get with Uncle Iroh. But he was always passing on a good message and was always feeling good, even if they were about to bomb a place or something.
And always inviting you to tea.
Yeah, and I don't know if I totally remember too much of this actually happening, but I'm gonna throw it in for the sake of the argument. But he also like overindulged a little bit on life's pleasures, like the eating and the drinking and gambling.
Yeah, I don't remember if those were themes in the show, but like if
I feel like I can picture him like in the background like eating cake when like everyone else was like talking war strategies.
no, I think that's fair. And even if it didn't happen, I think it could
It's canon
definitely
now.
it's can't. It's can't. No, I really like this because I think you can take Jupiter and really feel into like what parts of Jupiter do you want to channel today and combine that with the energy of the house that you have Jupiter in. Like, do you want the wise and generous but silly Iroh, which I don't know, maybe that's more like Jupiter and Sag energy, or like the dramatic over the top Zeus, which could be like if you have Jupiter in Leo. I don't know. That was just what came in my brain. But I don't know. Jordan, what house do you have Jupiter in again?
Fifth house.
Fifth house. Okay, that is a good placement.
I know. Guess what sign it's in? Do you know? Sure, you could do the math really quickly if you want to.
I know.
You and I are always one sign away from each other in each house, but I can never remember quickly which direction to go in.
my fifth house is Aquarius, so that means yours is Pisces?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jupiter in Pisces in fifth house.
Oh, that's like Jupiter.
At
Well, I don't want to give it
home.
away.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it away. So we can keep going.
Spoiler alert. What house do you have Jupiter
My first house.
in? Mm.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I'm like, that makes sense. That jives with my main character energy that I always like to pretend I have.
Let's see, Jupiter in first house. I think that's the thing too. Like when you have a planet in your first house, and I'm pretty sure your Jupiter is pretty close to your ascendant, right? But yeah, when you have a planet conjunct your ascendant, it's kind of like your ascendant also takes on some of those qualities. So I don't know, think about like what part of you is super Jupiterian, which you already talked about. So I'm gonna end this now.
Main character energy.
Ember, what are some physical items people can have with them or can use to connect with our greater benefic?
So honestly, I have a lot of trouble coming up with things intuitively. Actually, throughout this podcast, a lot of things intuitively were not coming to me as easily as they did with the other planets. And
Mm.
it was interesting because I would always be like, oh, I don't know how I vibe with like Mars because it's in my 12th house and it's like the hidden house. But this was hard actually. I'm just like, Jupiter is great. And then it's all you need to know. But
Do you feel
as
that
I
way about Saturn? Do you think you're gonna have like the same reactions with
don't
Saturn?
know, maybe
We'll see.
I have Saturn at a critical degree, so maybe. Why are you laughing?
Like, what does a critical degree have to do with that answer?
Don't know. It's a 29. So it's like
Yeah, but
I
what does
feel
that
like
have to do with whether you were gonna feel like you don't know much about Saturn or
it
not?
means that I know because I'm ending that cycle. So I
Okay,
know
okay, you feel like you
everything
will
about
know. Okay,
Saturn.
okay,
Yes,
got
I
it.
will know everything. But yeah, so like intuitively, I don't know. Something that came to mind was like books, maybe. So like this representation of like the learner and the philosopher. There's like so many good witchy books out there too, if you're looking to expand your magic. So you can like work with Jupiter and that energy. And I was also playing with ideas of like what would represent luck to you. So it could be like a lucky penny, a rabbit foot, which some people find really gross, but I think is really cool. A special card. I don't know. And I think you can call on Jupiter and just like have offerings that may bring you luck. And I think you could also indulge a little bit. So maybe like have a little bit of wine, have a drink with Jupiter. It could be really rich, delicious chocolate cake that you love. Just, I don't know, a plate of French fries and just like have a convo with Jupiter. Anything that brings you joy and happiness.
I'd like a number 13 for Jupiter. Large, make it a large.
Whatever brings you joy and happiness,
I do
really.
really like this like, when I because this whole like physical items, didn't we just add this for Mars? Like this is kind of a newer little thing we just added.
Yes. Because I think I brought up the iron for Mars, and I don't know why. It just
Yeah.
kind of was like,
I think it's something we had just added. So when I put it in for this episode, I hadn't really like because okay, when I put it in for Mars, it was because I had things I wanted to talk about. And then I just kind of kept it in this episode. But I didn't have anything in mind for Jupiter. Like I wasn't thinking ahead for it. And I really like the idea of like, you're something lucky, I guess, that you carry with you is a representation of Jupiter. And I'll add too, when I made a money bowl before, I had some bay leaves that I put the glyph for Jupiter on them.
oh,
So
I love that.
yeah.
Are bay leaves associated with Jupiter?
No, I think they're associated with abundance and stuff.
Okay.
Something.
Yay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I
Feels
also
like
write on
everything.
bay leaves to burn too.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
I feel like everything is associated with either abundance or protection.
Bay leaves are also very easy to write on.
Yeah, because they're big and leafy. But what crystals are associated with Jupiter?
I think crystals, I like this one because I think crystals are a really good way. Like the reason we work with crystals is because it expands the energy of like whatever the crystal is used to represent, right? So if I want to like use something if I want to use a crystal, it's because I want to like connect with my intuition to help like expand my relationship with intuition. And so using crystals as a representation of Jupiter to amplify that energy, I think goes together really well. And then some colors. So blue and purple are the colors that are most associated with Jupiter. I didn't really know why, but they are. They're very like royal too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But amethyst is a very classic Jupiter stone because it like expands spiritual awareness, clears the mind, connects us to wisdom, and can really like help you lean into that guru Jupiter archetype. And then so other like purpley crystals, lepidolite or sugilite are options that can really ground and bring some peace. So, and I also found a lot of the stones that are related to Jupiter also bring peace. And I think it's just like to bring that like feel good, like really that really good positive energy that Jupiter can bring. And it is also a really good opportunity to remind us that growth doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can feel very positive and peaceful. Lapis lazulus. Like, have you ever watched Vampire Diaries?
No, I couldn't get into it.
Okay. They just were talking about lapis lazulus. And so, anyway.
I always
Lapis
thought it was
lazuli.
lapis lazuli.
What?
I always thought it was lapis lazuli.
Oh, I don't know.
No, if
Lapis.
you heard it on a TV show, I'm sure they're right. I've heard it this way too, but I always thought before it was lazulis.
My reference is the Vampire Diaries. So,
Solid.
lapis lazulus is another option that we have talked about before. And I think it was in the Mercury episode, but I didn't actually go back and check.
They're both
But
related to the mind, so that would make sense.
yeah, and lapis also is like the mind, but like I think here it's related to the blue throat chakra of like increased clarity. And so I think, that too. So the mind, the increased like communications. And what I thought was really cool here, lapis lazuli, in my research, it's Egyptians have used it to ground into like the pigment for royal tombs, and Sumerians carved into it like seals. So lapis lazuli is a very like ancient crystal. Medieval priests had used it for sacred art. And I think because this stone really is symbolizes divine truth, kingship, cosmic wisdom. And so that's kind of how it became linked to Jupiter, which is considered Jupiter, right? Is like the great king of the heavens, planet of justice, higher knowledge, blah, 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 all that stuff. So I think that's how those got like connected with each other.
That's cool. I recently got an amethyst that I keep by my bed now. My grandma, hi Mimi, she used to have this giant amethyst. I don't know where it is anymore. I think she might have done something else with it, but I don't know. I think I just remember going to her house a lot and this giant amethyst was there. And I always thought, like, why do you want this giant rock? But now I'm an adult and I almost feel like there's a part of me that, like, one of my life goals is to have, like, a huge amethyst.
That would be so. I mean, you see them in the stores, right? This like giant raw piece of amethyst. And
yeah.
oh my gosh. Does your grandma listen to our podcast?
She does. Hi, Mimi.
Oh, hi. Is it Mimi? Is that?
Yeah, Mimi.
Hi, Mimi. Shout out to you and your amethyst crystal.
Yeah, and shout out to my mom because I love you. Thanks for listening. Ember, you want to make any shout outs?
Talking out your mom of our episodes, and
what was
love
your
it.
card? What was your oracle card?
The giveaway.
I was just thinking, are we giving? Yeah, we have this moment of like giving gratitude and all that.
Okay, then shout out to my dad.
Hi, Ember's dad. And after those beautiful shout outs, what about our plant allies for Jupiter?
So again, this was kind of hard to think about intuitively. I think after this conversation, I could have had like a better job of picking out some plants, but the first one that came to mind, I was like, oh yeah, sage, duh, very obvious literal reasonings to this archetype of the sage itself. But I did need to do some digging with this, and so some of my books reference dandelion because it just grows and grows, and we're in the Northeast, that it's everywhere. Cinnamon was on the list to represent the optimism of Jupiter, so cinnamon, very like positive. Agrimony, which is an herb that I wasn't really sure why, but it kept coming up. But I think it's because agrimony is like one of those ancient medicinal herbs that's been used in like so many different ways. It claims to have so many different medicinal effects. And I don't know, maybe it like heals expansively like Jupiter. And then after this conversation, it makes sense to me now, medical astrology, right? So anything that's like liver supportive, which will bring us back. So dandelion root is very supportive for the liver, and milk thistle as well. We'll actually use that to treat animals for liver injuries.
With cinnamon too, I'm pretty sure cinnamon's also associated with abundance, right?
Yeah.
I would say I remember shaking some cinnamon in that money bowl. So that's another connection to Jupiter.
All right. And then for tarot, Jordan, do you have any guesses for tarot with Jupiter association?
I did not look ahead in the script, so this is a genuine guess. It's a major arcana, right?
Yeah.
Is it the world?
No.
Okay. What is it?
So this is going to be the Wheel of Fortune card.
Mm.
And I think it's that turning wheel of like fate, luck, expansion, right? And so, just like Jupiter, the wheel reminds us that life is always shifting. Fortune can spin in your favor. When it does, it's time to be like, heck yeah, that's soul yes. And then you grow. But it also, that card can also have like that shadow of luck that can inflate or vanish if we're like completely relying on chance. And so together, I think they invite us to trust like this cycle of expansion and keep faith in the bigger picture and ride the wheel of wisdom. And so, as we've also talked about, I wanted to bring in Jupiter's connection with Sagittarius as the ruler of Sag. The other card that can be connected is Temperance. And at first, I was like, I don't get this. But when you think about it, like temperance is all about balance and harmony. And I guess that can be more like optimistic trust in the universe, almost to balance any excess that Jupiter could be throwing in there. I don't know. That was kind of my thought. But anything else, Jordan, you wanted to add?
I'm thinking a lot about again, because I think I've been thinking about a lot lately, the 12-letter alphabet thing, and thinking about like, what is the difference between the planets and the signs and the houses, and thinking like how much of Jupiter is Sagittarius and how much of Sagittarius is just Sagittarius and not Jupiter. Not totally related to the tarot, but that was coming to mind when you were connecting them.
You have to talk to us more about the 12 alphabets. 12 alphabets?
Yeah, the 12-letter alphabet. Did I
The
say I might have
12
said 12
letter.
alphabets, but 12-letter alphabet. I guess so like one example besides like the ninth house long distance travel we talked about is like eighth house, where a lot of people associate sex, which I think sex is fifth house. But anyway, is
We've
eighth
talked,
house, huh? Yeah, I think we did talk about
we've
that.
talked about that before.
Is eighth house sex? Is Scorpio sex? Is it one or the other? Are they both connected to sex? And why would it be both? Does that mean Mars is like, we connect Mars to sex too? Is that because of the 12-letter alphabet and we have just connected Scorpio is connected to eighth house, which is connected to Mars, and it's a circle? Or have we conflated these things too much and are they actually not all connected like that? And I don't think they are all connected like that. I think maybe this wasn't a good example because again, I don't really use eighth house for sex, but I don't think Scorpio is sex, and I don't think Mars. I mean, Mars has like male fertility, but I don't think it rules sex any more than Venus does.
That's
That's a
interesting. I
tangent.
think that so actually in my group with Tanae, when we look at things, so we look at like intuition or pleasure or something like that, there's always like
Let's do
there-
intuition. That's a good one to practice with. I want to hear about that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just continue with what you're saying.
I have to think if I know off the top of my head.
That was
Trying to
a
think.
hard one for me to say too, because there's no house that's like associated with intuition.
I mean the 12 it could be the 12th house.
Oh, really? I've never heard that, so that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Actually,
I mean, the 12th house is a subconscious.
yeah, so I think intuition can be a really good example. So the way like Tanae teaches is there's different houses, planets, and like it could be an asteroid or something associated. I know like Tanae likes to use like Black Moon Lilith as part of this for pleasure, but for intuition, so like the moon is a pretty obvious one, right? Neptune could be an option where like Neptune can kind of like lean into how you relate to your intuition. Like,
But how do these, like, I guess the example would be the moon. We know that the moon is intuition. That's kind of one we all agree on. In this 12-letter alphabet theory or whatever, the moon would therefore also be connected to fourth house because Cancer would be fourth house. Does that make sense so far?
wait, Cancer would be fourth. Why is Cancer fourth
Because
house?
it's fourth in the zodiac.
Oh,
So the moon would be connected to Cancer. And so people who followed this 12-letter alphabet idea, which, by the way, is used more in a mocking way. Like, it's not actually called 12-letter alphabet theory. I just don't know what else to call it right now. But because of that, Cancer would then also be connected to intuition because of its connection to the moon. And because Cancer, with this 12-letter alphabet thing, is connected to fourth house would also be connected to intuition.
oh, I see.
And so the
Okay, no,
question
that's
is like,
not.
is that true
Yeah,
or not? And then,
yeah.
but there
Okay.
are things that we've kind of like let slip through the cracks a bit. Like, in my opinion, like sex. Like, I don't think eighth house and Mars and Scorpio all rule sex, just as an example.
Yeah, but I think like it's I guess like I think it would depend on like what your definition of sex, like what are you talking about? Are you talking about like penetrative sex, or are you talking about the taboo kink?
Well, see,
Are
that
you
goes
talking about
back
the
into what we said before, because I think eighth house is intimacy, which can include sex. I think
yeah,
fifth house is like the pleasure of sex.
yeah.
I don't think Scorpio really has much to do with either of those and
Hmm.
that kind of
What
thing.
okay. So Scorpio not ruling sex, ruling sex. I do you, when you see Scorpio, Jordan, is it like your I always think of Scorpio as like a super intense, like, I don't know, has really strong desires, knows what they want, like transform, resurrection, all these like really powerful archetypes.
Mhm. What's the
And
question?
is
Oh,
that
sorry.
accurate? Like,
I think so. I think so the planet is like the what? It's like the thing. So like the relationships, for example. And then the signs are the personality or the vibe. And so like sex isn't a vibe. It's a thing or an action, I guess. But
I guess I think of it as like sex can be a vibe.
I think
Like,
sexy is a vibe. But I think that would be Venus actually. That's a whole other because Venus is style and that's not answering your question right now.
yeah,
So
no,
yeah, so the vibe of Scorpio is intense and I guess I would still put the vibe is transformational. I don't know, maybe I wouldn't say that. Venus or
yeah, I
Scorpio
think
is dark.
yeah, I think it depends on. I think if you're like a sex is the strict definition of this and this is like that's it. But I think when you start to think about like what is sex, so like foreplay, that buildup of tension, that like that desire that it is like stirring and coming and it feels really intense. Like, is that Scorpio energy? Like, because
I
that's
don't
a
think
vibe
in a
too.
chart at least. How do you apply that when you look at a chart?
So I may look to see with Scorpio, like if I am trying to look at like, I don't know, like kinks maybe, and like what may stir desire in a person, looking at what house Scorpio has, right? Maybe it's like I'm a great example of this.
Use me, first house. How would you?
Um,
I'm interested because I can't imagine how you would see kinks based off of house.
I think it's like what you see as like taboo and dark and I don't know. So, first house about you, right? So, like being one with yourself and like working, I don't know, man. I would think self pleasure. Like, honestly, like I would be like, self pleasure is your kink, like being like just coming in and like being doing some solo stuff or like, I don't know. Like, I think that could be like Scorpio in the first house vibe.
Would you
Uh,
also look to eighth house or would you only look to
yes.
Scorpio?
No, I would
Why
look
would
to
you look
both.
at both? Like, do you
Um,
think that's a 12-letter alphabet thing where the two of them are just
mm,
that kind of equal?
No, I think that there's just multiple places that you can look in a chart to get like a bigger picture.
Hmm.
Because I don't believe that this thing represents one thing. It's kind of like what we talked about earlier about the long distance travel with Jupiter
Yeah.
and Sag. It's like it doesn't have to just be like this is the thing that represents the one thing.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
like I think intuition is you could look to the moon for your intuition, but I think you can also look to Pisces and what house you have Pisces in.
It's interesting. I don't think I would look to the house. I wouldn't look to I don't think I would look to Pisces for intuition. I have studied intuition in the birth chart a bit, and there is definitely like the Neptune connection, which people would then connect with Pisces, but I don't think I would look at where Pisces is. But I would maybe consider 12th house as like psychic abilities, but I mostly look at the moon. I look at Uranus and I look at Neptune.
Like you would look at multiple things there. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that I thought like you can't look at multiple places. It was more of like, are you looking at, is it a coincidence that you're looking at Scorpio, which is often connected to the eighth house? Or are you connecting them because people think that they're
No,
the same?
I didn't because when I was like talking about this stuff with Tanae, I didn't even know that Scorpio and like this is like learning from Tanae, right? So like maybe she
Hmm.
connected them that way and just taught it this way. But like I would also relate Venus, and that has nothing to do with either of them.
Hmm.
And like I would use the fifth house like to give a if somebody asked me like what can you read about intimacy in my chart, I would like look at a bunch of different things. I wouldn't just look at the eighth house because intimacy can mean a lot of different things too.
I think I would, well, I would ask, and you have studied intimacy more than I have, so we'll say that. But I think just off the cuff, I think I would definitely look at eighth house. And I would probably, again, because I think
Because there's also
maybe
like
I'd look at
there,
seventh house too.
yeah, I was gonna say there's like personal connection intimacy. There's also like intimacy. There's Venus energy
I
there.
think I would also look to Venus before I don't think I'd look to Scorpio at all, actually. But I would look to Venus, and I think I'd look seventh and eighth house, and I might, after I've like talked to them a bit, I might even pull in fifth just because that's how I do things, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Scorpio, I do see Scorpio as kind of like the sexy sign.
Mhm.
And like, so I probably would look there too.
All right, all that from the tarot card conversation.
All right,
Dignity, but
Jordan, after that tangent, let's go on to essential dignitary time.
yes, essential dignities. So Jupiter is in domicile or at home in Sagittarius and Pisces. Jupiter is in detriment in Gemini and Virgo. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, where Jupiter is now. Hallelujah. And Jupiter is in fall in Capricorn. So Jupiter is right at home in Sagittarius. This is a sign of expansion, optimism, and faith, which are all qualities Jupiter thrives on. Jupiter wants to explore, to learn, to grow, to go on quests, and Sag wants the same things in life. So Jupiter is unrestricted in Sag, and this is the classic hero setting out on a grand journey type vibe, and trusting that luck and wisdom will guide the way. So again, kind of bringing in that like faith aspect too.
Yeah, I would think it's funny that we called out my dad earlier because my dad is like a Sag sun.
Oh.
And yeah, he like my dad could be a Sagittarius archetype. Like he is just like this like very like he's just such like a giving person and he does gamble and he's a bit of a lush, but he's like such a go-getter. He's like started a business, runs a restaurant, he's super adventurous. Like I feel like my dad could definitely be the poster child for Sag.
I actually always think of my brother for Sagittarius, and I think he is a Sag rising. I'll have to look at his chart again. But Jupiter is also at home in Pisces. Pisces takes Jupiter's expansive nature and channels it into spiritual wisdom, compassion, and imagination. Jupiter here isn't about external journeys, but more the inner journeys, to contrast with Sagittarius. Or like the less physical journeys, so diving into the soul and art and dreams. An image that comes to mind is that Sagittarius is the wide open landscape set to be traveled, while Pisces is the deep, uncharted ocean. And Jupiter wants to explore all of it. So think of the ocean in a literal way, but also in a metaphorical way. The ocean represents a body carrying emotions and relationships and memories. The ocean is the mysteries of the earth and the things that we haven't discovered yet on our own planet. And so the things that are all right here, but we cannot reach them yet. Jupiter in Pisces is diving into those mysteries.
Okay, so like, is that where the deep spiritual guru kind of vibe comes from? Because like, I don't picture that as Sag, but I feel like Pisces probably really embodies that. Like maybe they're like the guru once they've done all of their exploring and learning.
Yeah, I always picture Sag as like the high school history teacher. And I
Oh,
picture and I picture Pisces as the Buddhist monk or like the mystic, the one that says some, random proverbs that we're like, what do you mean? And Jupiter is in detriment in Gemini. Jupiter is ruled by Mercury and loves details and facts and short bursts of curiosity. But Jupiter is big picture. It doesn't care about the tiny details. Gemini wants to sample a little bit of everything and learn a little bit about every topic, while Jupiter wants to master one topic at a time. So Jupiter here can feel scattered, pulled into a million ideas without finding like the deeper knowledge within. And I think Gemini is oftentimes too noisy for Jupiter. At the same time, though, there's this potential, like this placement can synthesize small pieces into something greater and learning to expand wisdom from the fine details. And then in Virgo, Jupiter runs into a similar challenge. Virgo is also ruled by Mercury. So we talked before about how Venus and Mars oppose each other, and so do Mercury and Jupiter.
oh yeah. So like Mercury is in detriment in Sag and Pisces and domiciles Gemini and Virgo. So it's just a switchy.
Yeah, exactly. So Virgo is analytical, precise, and critical, and Jupiter wants to say yes and expand endlessly, but Virgo wants to nitpick and perfect, and there's always a time and place for that. But this can make Jupiter specifically feel very limited and claustrophobic. And Jupiter also has a lot to do with faith. So when Jupiter says, just trust that it will all work out, Virgo says, but how do you know that? And expects like a logical answer. And that's just not what Jupiter is about. And Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. Cancer is nurturing, protective, and deeply tied to home and family, which again is at the 12-letter alphabet that I've been having this crisis about. But anyway, Jupiter here expresses generosity in the most beautiful way, abundance that nourishes, wisdom that protects. I've heard people refer to this placement as the Divine Mother. And what's interesting there too is if I ask you to tell me what planet is the Divine Mother, you'd probably tell me the moon. At least that's what I would have said.
Yeah.
But Jupiter represents what we consider divine, and Cancer, ruled by the moon, is the mother. So I think that kind of makes perfect sense. And I know Adam Ellenboss has also said Jupiter in Cancer makes him think of Mother Mary from the Bible. So if that means anything to you, sit with that. Especially since this is where we have Jupiter now.
Who's Adam Ellenboss?
He is an astrologer. He does a lot of teaching. He has a really great YouTube channel that he posts daily on. I highly recommend checking him out. I got really interested in him because he has a traditional approach, but I feel like most astrologers have a mix of the traditional and modern, so I feel like I'm not saying anything special by saying he mixes the modern and traditional. But he's got everything that he does fairly rooted in traditional astrology. He also pulls in things from Vedic astrology, which is not the traditional Western, but it is like an ancient practice. And I think he takes a lot of ideas from evolutionary astrology, which I'm very interested in. And I got really into him because we talked about this before, but I was feeling I still kind of am, but like so doom and gloom about my chart because in traditional Western astrology, which is mostly about like predicting things, my chart just predicts misfortune after misfortune. And so I liked that Adam has a lot of roots in traditional practices, but he has a really good like karmic spiritual tie to things that make me feel a tiny bit better.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Good job, Adam. Shout out to Adam.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, I also don't really know much about Mother Mary. I'm reading a Mary Magdalene book right now. That's pretty good.
And that's not the same person, right? Because
No,
I think
they're
I thought they
different.
were, but apparently they're not the same.
Mother Mary is literally like who birthed Jesus.
I knew that, but I don't know who Mary Magdalene is.
Mary
I've heard the
Magdalene
name.
was one of his like powerful disciples, but also
He had a
like
woman as a disciple?
and there's
I don't know
like
that.
there's some discussions that she was actually like a super powerful witch. Like, I don't know. I would be like burned for saying that. But yeah, she's supposed to be like a super powerful witch, and Jesus actually like protected her. Like there's a
Hmm.
whole feminist view of that
I'll have to read
situation.
more of the Bible to know any of
You
this.
should read the book we're reading for book club.
I
Shout
can't
out
spend any
to
money.
Madonna Secret. It's free on Spotify.
Oh, I can't listen to books either.
Oh.
I can listen to nonfictions, but a fiction I can't get through.
It's like it could spin. Just tell yourself it's nonfiction. It sounds like you're listening to like a history book.
Okay.
Try it.
Okay.
It's good. It's worth it. And then you'll learn about Mary Magdalene. But as you were talking, I thought more about like Demeter. Do you know anything about Demeter?
Just isn't she Apollo's twin? Did I make that up?
Is Apollo's twin Aphrodite?
I don't think so. Or did Demeter and No, I'm thinking of hold on, no. Who am I
No,
thinking
no,
of?
no, not Apollo's twin is Artemis, right?
Artemis, that's who I was thinking of. So
Yes.
no, I
No,
know
no, no.
nothing about Demeter.
So Demeter is Persephone's mother, and she is like the goddess of harvest. She feeds the world. She's like a goddess of abundance. So like representative of Gaia. And so she would probably be like a really good representation of Jupiter and Cancer as well. Um, but I'm sure also like Jupiter and Cancer, you get some like super over mothering vibes as well.
Yeah, I can actually see that being like overprotecting. I wonder how parenting style shows up in the birth chart. Ooh, that's gonna be my next deep dive.
But what about fall? Where's Jupiter in fall?
Jupiter is in fall in Capricorn, opposite its exaltation. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn and is focused on rules, discipline, and limitations. And like we talked about, Jupiter wants to expand, but Capricorn says, slow down, what are the consequences? And Jupiter believes that the sky is the limit on any given day. And Capricorn believes that we are like only a product of our past, if that makes sense. So Jupiter wakes up with a fresh, optimistic attitude and believes like today is a new day and I feel great and happy and I don't care about what happened yesterday or anything like that. While Capricorn is more structured in reaching their goals. So Capricorn wakes up and thinks about what did they accomplish yesterday or last month or over the last 10 years and thinks what can I do today because of the hard work that I have already done? Or what can I do today to reach my goal 10 years from now? So Jupiter's abundance feels kind of checked here, and its optimism can feel stifled by Capricorn's realism. But still, I think even for a fall placement, this placement has good potential because it grounds Jupiter's idealism and overabundant optimism, I guess, in the long-term practical vision that is Capricorn.
Jupiter is, I feel like even when it's like in the negative, it's like, yeah, we can still like kick it. We're great. I like Jupiter.
You
I want
can't
to
hate,
be
yeah, you
Jupiter.
can't dislike Jupiter.
Yeah. But Jupiter, can you tell Jupiter? Jupiter, can you tell
That's
us?
gonna be my coven name.
Jupiter, can you tell us about your path in the sky?
So Jupiter spends about 1 year in each zodiac sign. And so it takes 12 years to cycle through the whole chart. So we all have a Jupiter return about every 12 years, and Jupiter goes retrograde about once a year. And when watching Jupiter transits, you want to see the house that it's moving through and look for or manifest blessings, opportunities, or lessons. And think about what planets Jupiter might be having conversations with through aspects. And imagine Jupiter is making that point in your chart huge. It's expanding it. So, for example, maybe you are someone who gets sunburns really easily. And this could be someone who has Mars conjunct Saturn in first house or something, for example. And then Jupiter transits over your Mars Saturn conjunction, and suddenly your sunburns are becoming even bigger issues because Jupiter makes things bigger. Alternatively, maybe you have your moon in Aquarius and find yourself to generally be detached from some emotions, but with Jupiter transit coming into conjunction, Jupiter may bring out more of all the positive, happy, lovely emotions.
Oh, okay. So we kind of glanced over like Jupiter in retrograde. And so I was thinking like Jupiter in retrograde, is it like a lot of inward process? I mean, retrogrades are always inward processing, right? So my intuition is like, it's not like, oh, Jupiter's in retrograde, we're all gonna have bad luck. But I guess if we're talking our rewords, is it like realignment of our values and beliefs? Like what is like a Jupiter retrograde?
Yeah, I guess I didn't write anything on that. I think what's coming to mind is like rethinking, reconsidering, which is also kind of like mercurial, but I guess like re-reasoning would be one. I don't know. I guess I also kind of think it's maybe like a quieter time to manifest abundance. So that's kind of when you do the work for something and you're not seeing the results yet, or
I
maybe
like
revisiting some kind of like creative project or thing you've been manifesting.
I like it.
Yeah. And then I think on a more mundane level, where Jupiter is for the year, retrograde or direct, can really set the cultural tone for the year and like what people are generally believing. So, like, what are the most important morals right now? And Jupiter being in Cancer right now brings up themes of national security, housing, and family values, for example.
Yeah, I guess expanding on those ideals, making them bigger. I don't know. That kind of like brings up this more like push for like the traditional family, which is kind of coming back in the US. And I don't necessarily love that, but that theme that keeps coming back, I don't know, in this administration.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope that like I hope Jupiter, brings the good things through. And I'm also thinking about what it's going to be like next year with Jupiter going through Leo. You know what I guess is kind of fun about like me being like I have Jupiter going through my ninth house and you have it going through your 10th house. But next
Oh.
year I'm going to experience it through my 10th house. So I kind of get to watch you and see how it goes. Okay, now Ember, tell us some fun ideas for rituals we can do to connect with Jupiter.
Yeah, so one ritual idea I thought could be so fun, especially with the harvest season upon us, is to have like a ritual feast. And so you can invite your friends, your family, your dog, your cat, your snake, whatever, and really just bring in like the rich, yummy foods, wine, set a place for the table for Jupiter, and just like invite Jupiter in and all the joy, the excitement, the expansive wisdom into your lives collectively. And I think like just even playing music that feels really big and joyful and having so much fun. Like I think we get stuck in that ritual can just be this like very serious thing and you need to do X, Y, and Z to do the thing. But ritual can also be like set a circle and just have a blast inside of it. And I think Jupiter energy could bring that in.
Yeah, I love that. And I like yeah, it's the happiness, the gratitude around the table. It makes me think of like those things that families do sometimes where they say like their highs and lows for the day. And Jupiter would be more focused on the highs. But I don't know, I like that imagery of just people who love each other around the table enjoying good food.
Yeah, like people who do like family dinners or like a weekly dinner with like
Yeah.
for themselves, or
Honestly,
maybe just
especially
themselves.
like yeah, like Sunday dinners. Yeah.
Yeah, or even just themselves. Maybe like once a week you like treat yourself to like a nice dinner and it's just you.
Yeah, and you get yourself a cake.
Get yourself a cake, says Jupiter.
Every episode, we want to leave you with something to reflect on and something to do. So, Ember, give us something to reflect on.
As I've been tending to do recently, I'm going to circle it back to our key themes. So first I'm going to jump in with something a little deep. So knowledge and learning. How does my spiritual or philosophical perspective give me hope? Like tying in what those Jupiter themes are with like how does it make me feel good? For optimism, which is super important for all of you worriers and anxiety people like me, where might I lean into joy and gratitude instead of worry? For good luck and fortune, reflect on a time when you felt luck was truly on your side. And what did that moment teach you in thinking about faith or beliefs or trust? And finally, I thought like a little bit of shadow work. It's shadow work season, kind of leaning into that overindulging excess theme we've talked about. Where in my life am I chasing more? So whether it's stuff, success, pleasure, knowledge, without truly feeling fulfilled. So where in your life are you chasing more without actually feeling fulfilled by this? And this seems like a very potent question for myself. So I look forward to answering it.
Okay, so for the something to do, Ember, I'm going to ask you to practice this with me. And honestly, this one is also pretty reflecty of a thing to do, so it's kind of a double whammy today. So for something to do, I want you to write out a list of things you're grateful for. And I would say at least 3 things, but it can be a list as many as you would like. And then I want you to expand on each one. So here is an example. I would write, I am grateful for my book collection. And then I'm going to expand on that and ask myself, why am I grateful for it? I am grateful for my book collection because I feel like I have endless opportunities for a fun, fantastical, thrilling, adventurous escapism moment. I feel like they connect me with centuries of knowledge I wouldn't have without them. And I also feel like a book is a more individual way to connect with this information rather than watching videos, for example, which I also love. I think I would then ask myself, what opportunities does this bring me? And so my lovely book collection brings me the opportunity to decompress, to have fun, to consume art and other people's creativity. And it also brings me the opportunity to learn and to become more educated, which in turn can bring me the opportunity for higher emotional intelligence and the opportunity to connect better with people and opportunities for better understandings of humanity and whatever other subject matters I choose. So that's kind of an example of how you can take something that you're grateful for and then like blow it up. So, Ember, your turn. What is something you are grateful for? I knew you were going to say this. Okay, go on.
Okay. So I am grateful for the community I've built in my witchy and burlesque spaces. And so then expanding on that, I'm grateful for my witchy and burlesque community because this community allows me to truly embrace my authentic self and be loud and crazy and truly as Ember as I want to be. And this brings me opportunities to learn more about myself, who I am, what I love, and then find those people and connections and hobbies that let me be even bigger and expand and learn and grow. And as I was thinking about this totally makes sense that I would answer this way with like Jupiter in my first house.
Yeah. Oh, and then mine
And
is in the House of Hobbies.
yeah, oh my gosh, see, that makes sense. Oh my gosh, whoa.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think initially, you think, oh, 11th house is like community vibes. And it's like, no, I'm grateful for my community because they let me expand me. And I love that. I appreciate and love my community so much for that.
Heck yeah. I love this. I love that it connected to our own Jupiters. I wasn't thinking about that at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the last episode, for the first time, we did a fun little astrology this or that, and we loved it so much. So now Ember and I are going to take turns doing this for each other. So this is a Jupiter themed this or that, and Ember has not looked ahead of time for these, so
Oh
I'm excited.
gosh. Let's see if my brain can keep up.
Yeah, so it's rapid fire. You ready?
Okay.
Some of these are silly. Travel the world or travel another realm?
Travel another realm.
Really? I thought the answer was obviously travel the world.
No, I want to go
Wow.
put me in the fairy realm.
Okay, Sag or Pisces?
Pisces. That's like asking me to pick between my dad and Trevor. I don't like it.
Is
My
Trevor
dad,
Pisces?
Trevor's a Pisces sun, and my
Oh.
dad is a Sag sun. Oh no, sorry, Dad.
Teacher or preacher?
Teacher.
Expansion or protection?
Expansion.
Facts or faith?
Faith.
Gemini or Virgo?
Gemini.
Teacher or student?
Student.
Spiritual journey or academic achievements?
Spiritual journeys.
Heck yeah. Well, that was fun.
Was fun. I like that. Oh my god, my brain was still like processing, and I was like, "Wait, was that really rapid? Did I think about those too hard?" Like,
No,
I
that
feel
was
like
fun.
expansion or protection. I was like protection, but then I was like, "Say expansion," and I'm like, "Expansion."
Yeah, they're fun. They're good ones. And you'll have to come up with our Saturn ones next time.
Oh, that'll be fun. I love these. These are fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here with us and dealing with all of our shenanigans in the study room.
We're so random.
We're so random. I hope this isn't your first episode.
I hope it is. No, I'm kidding.
Whether you're just beginning your journey with us or with Jupiter and the planets or deepening a connection you've held for years, we hope you're walking away feeling a bit more in tune with Jupiter's expansive energy and maybe even inspired by wisdom and the hope that Jupiter, the greater benefic, brings you. Jupiter is amazing. Take that energy, take it with you. I was just like giddy this whole time. Like I felt like I was just like giggling a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true.
At one point, I was like, Jordan, I didn't take drugs, but I feel like I'm on drugs. I'm laughing so hard.
Yeah, we have been particularly giggly today.
I know it's Jupiter energy. And if you have had a good experience, like don't forget, join us on our Patreon. We love hearing from you.
Yes, we love hearing from you. And as we're in this process of building a community of astrology students, we would especially love any kind of comments, likes, subscribes, anything you want to do. And everything we do is linked in the show notes. And next week, we will be shifting to our greater malefic planet, Saturn, which I have a big relationship with Saturn, so it'll be fun. Fun's not the right word. It'll be something to talk about Saturn.
Something to talk about Saturn. I know. I'm just picturing this meme of this like jovial, happy Jupiter and then like grump, grump, Grandpa Saturn. I'm so excited to talk about Grandpa Saturn again.
I'm excited that you're excited. I was afraid it was going to be a depressing episode.
It might be, but we'll make it fun.
This podcast is my practice of asking big questions, uncovering the hidden truths, and creating an accessible space for others to do the same.
And I'm so grateful to be learning alongside Jordan and all of you, sharing our resources and diving into what it means to connect with the cosmos. Thank you so much for being part of our journey in our community, and we'll see you back in the study room every other Tuesday.